How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have a food lover. Matthew is joining us, which is the host of 50 Days of Great and acclaimed by FeedSpot as one of the top food podcasts listening in 2024. So, a fellow podcaster. So, Matthew, tell us what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs to achieve the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Well, I don't know if there are really 5 steps, Harry, and thank you so much for having me on today, but I don't think it comes down to 5 steps. I think really it needs to begin with 2 steps, and that would be persistence and determination. Those 2 steps will get you to the next level, and I really believe that that's an aspect of business that people need to understand.
But if it were okay, persistence and so
Determination.
in determination. So anything else that you think that would be a positive things for people to get what we call a product market fit? So
The,
persistence and
the
determination only will do it for entrepreneurs.
Those are the first 2 most important steps, and then social skills comes in number 3, and that's being able to get along with people and be able to introduce and educate and entertain people that you're a part of, whether it's a banker trying to get a loan or whether it's somebody who might be a vendor or someone who might be an employee. So the top 3 steps: persistence, determination, and social skills. Those 3 things will get you down the line.
Social skills are amazing because if at the end of the day, if you have a business, you have to sell your product, you have to sell your service, and it's that social skills that will help you to build your network, or to build the group around you that will buy your product or service. Because at the beginning, you don't know anyone as an entrepreneur, so with these social skills we help you to build that network in terms of products and in terms of your clients, because at the beginning you need to go out and find your own clients, right?
That's right. But if you have high-end social skills, it can kind of take the place of a
Mhm.
lack of sales or marketing background. If you're
Absolutely.
able to speak to people and help them feel comfortable and be able to express yourself, you'll do better in business, of course.
Absolutely. And also developing the product, right? So why when it comes to develop the product, these social skills are also good, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because you have to listen to your clients in order to develop the product. For out of the 500 entrepreneurs that we have interviewed in this broadcast, nobody started the business with the product exactly how they design it. They make a evaluation. They will listen to the clients until the product was fit for the market, right?
Right, right, of course, yes.
So Matthew, tell us a little bit more about your journey.
Well, my journey has been a long one, Harry. When I was a teenager, I left high school early to go on the road with the Eagles on their Hotel California
Oh
tour.
wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And then I was with Fleetwood Mac and I was with Pink Floyd. So I was with some of the big rock and roll bands of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I was working with them originally in a marketing background, helping them sell licensed merchandise all over the
Hmm.
world. And then I became a chef and went to school in London to do that, and then came back to Los Angeles and started cooking for a lot of people in the Hollywood industry, actors, musicians, people like that. And my entire life has been shaped around food, feeding, educating, and entertaining people my entire life.
Wow, what a story, amazing story. The other day I was visiting um someone here in Miami, and he played in Hyde Park, in this concert that Freddie Mercury seen in the sang in the ID in Hyde Park. It was a very great an historical concert for raising funds for Africa. It was organized by Bob Gildorf there
Oh, yeah.
in United Kingdom. So how tell us a little bit more about that transition from marketing to food. I love food a lot. I used to have a restaurant. I don't know how to cook. I like to cook, but not professionally. So my restaurant, I lost over 200,000 pounds, but it was a great experience. I love it. Most of the thing that I know about business is is because I had the restaurant. Because to make a restaurant works, if you don't know what you're doing, it's challenging. And so how you discover this passion for food? It involves a lot of creativity, right?
When I
Similar
was
than
a
marketing, right? Mhm.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I used to follow my mom around the kitchen, and she was the one who introduced me to food and flavor and aroma and architecture and color and all the things that kind of are behind the scenes of making something that tastes delicious. And so she gave me that interest, and that was something that kickstarted my creativity towards doing food-related enterprises and entrepreneurial enterprises.
Now, one thing is because people think that being a chef is only about putting combining flavors and have a very good taste and become like kind of an artist and a designer. But it takes way more than that to be a chef. Because well, my first job in London, when I arrived to London, my English was not good. So my first job was as a room service attendant in the Hilton. And I used to remember to see the chef there, and the head chef, spent most of his time in the office. Because in order to have all the food delivered with quality to the people from the hotel, if you have events with 2,000 people, well, 2,000 plates of food has to go out at the same time, and this is a very complex task to do. It's not only had to look beautiful and have an amazing taste and had to be balanced, but a lot of things got involved, like food costs, quality of the ingredients, the team. And I remember that the that the big job, it was not even on the day, it was the day before, when they were doing the preparation. I used to see them work, and this is look like an army. This is had to be so organized, like a music orchestra. Otherwise, there is no way that you can put 2,000 plates of food at the same time to anybody. So, Matthew, you might like to follow your mom into cooking when you're a kid, but it's a way long distance to be a chef that just mixing flavor and putting on the plate, right?
Oh, absolutely. You start out in your career cooking in a very creative endeavor, and then it becomes, just as you said, somebody who has to manage the ship and manage all the people and watch for the inventory and become organized so you can be the go-between the consumer, the patron who's sitting in your restaurant, and your team who's cooking the food in the kitchen. So it goes from creativity to organization and business also.
And then operating a successful restaurant, it comes more complexity to it. I remember, this is true story from my own restaurant, that I have clients there that one time a couple came, and I told them, guys, you haven't been here in this restaurant for 6 months. What happened? You didn't like the food? Someone didn't treat you well? What happened? And they told me, no, Harry, the reason why we didn't come for the restaurant in 6 months is because last time we went here, we have an argument. And I'm thinking, wow, this is tough business to be. Because here's, you see, no, is the customer is not retaining, not even for something that have nothing to do with you. And so this is how complex is this business. In fact, every time that I see restaurant owners, I'm telling them, man, if you're making money in restaurant, you should do it. You will be amazing doing all the businesses, because you really need to love food, honestly, to own a profitable restaurant. Because as business, and I have several businesses, from property, real estate, from career advice, English school, you name it. By far, the restaurant was the business that, for the business itself, is more complex. The reason for that is because exactly what we're describing today. You have food costs, number one. You have the team, you have the customer service, you have the operation, and on top of that, you have to deliver an experience for the client. And on top of that, we can call it that the ticket is a low ticket. I mean, compared with another business, my first business was in property. We managed to sell 5 million. So imagine, when you are in property, if you sell a house, or you rent, you're talking about, you find one client and spend with you, I don't know, 900 pounds, 900 pounds per month. So I'm coming from that industry. When you acquire a client, and you have a long-term value of a client with a lot of money comes, and now you're in the restaurant. When you acquire a client and the ticket is low, and then the client has to repeat. So a lot needs to go to marketing, to sales, to deliver all the experience. So Matthew, how you jump into this industry? Did you really thought that it's gonna be so complex and so tough?
Yeah, well, that was part of the education and the training. So you learn that you're going to have to be more than creative, and you're going to have to become a taskmaster. You're going to have to be able to handle your groups. There are a lot of personalities in the restaurant business, and a lot of elements, and everyone kind of knows that restaurants have a very, very high failure rate. So you have to do almost
Absolutely.
everything right.
Perfect.
You have to do almost everything right to be able to get to a successful place. And that's why, aside from publishing, restaurants are the next business that fails so high
I agree
so
with you
often.
100%. A
But
lot
it's
of
an
people
act of
say, let's
love.
open a restaurant. The people say, okay, let's open a restaurant. You see, let's open a restaurant. We should open a restaurant. And I'm thinking, you guys don't even know what you're getting into.
That's right.
This is
Everybody
everybody
who
is
can
go
make
to a
one
restaurant.
dish.
Yeah, everybody go to a restaurant, eat the food, see the plate full of people, and everybody think that this is easy. I can do it. And boy, this I have a dream. I'm so lucky that all the dreams that I have, I'm going for it. Yeah. And somehow, because I love food, don't get me wrong. Yeah, as you can see, I'm a little bit chubby. Yeah, I love food. I love it. And so I think that I had this restaurant in London, in Brick Lane. uh,
I love Brick Lane.
and I look, let me tell you a story what I did. I call it, look, in my I didn't have any clue what I was doing in Brick Lane. It used to be, I mean, I'm talking about 16 years ago. Brick Lane was the spicy restaurants food there, right? So I thought
Oh
that was a
yeah.
good idea. To do a Spanish tapas halal restaurant. Yeah, to bring variety to the street. Yeah.
Right. Instead
So
of just Indian restaurants.
absolutely, yeah. I want
Right.
to bring something different with the community. In mind, I didn't have any clue what I was doing. I call it Harry Spanish Tapa. I should call it Lola Pepe. That's how you call the Spanish restaurant. No, because I didn't have any clue. So I call it Harry Spanish Tapas. And and when we started the operation, from designing the menu, that was already complex because the food had to be halal, so they don't eat pork or alcohol. Thanks God that Spanish uh, food, or the Spanish culture, is so does so many different dishes that we
Hmm.
easily could accommodate that. However, being so early in an alternative food in this type of environment, it was a huge challenge. But guess what happened after I left? Yeah, I got a lot of praises from everybody was visiting the restaurant. Something good about having a restaurant is that everybody wants to be your friend. Yeah, from
Oh,
the
yeah.
institution, from the mayor, so everybody wants to be your friend. That's a very good positive thing. However, I learned that educating a market in the restaurant business is tough as it is, and educating a market in the new food in the new environment is no, it's gonna take way more money than I thought and way more effort than, than what I thought. So unfortunately, I have to close it. And guess what happened after I left? Now 50% of the break lane is alternative food. So I was onto something there.
Oh, yeah.
There
So
are
you're
people
saying
that,
it's not just Indian food anymore. It's
at the moment,
alternate stuff.
no.
Oh,
I changed the trend. Yeah, that's the with my experience opening this restaurant. I think that everybody was looking my restaurants, saying, well, um, obviously in this street, everyone have a lot of experience. They all have own restaurants for years, so they knew that the area needed change. And but again, because they are very experienced people, they know that it takes time to educate the market, take a lot of money, and it was easy to have a newbie there doing this job and taking all the risks. And then after I left, now yes, Brick Lane, 50% of Brick Lane is all alternative food. We have
wow.
vegetarian restaurants, we have Mexican halal restaurants, Chinese. The restaurant that I used to have is now a Chinese restaurant. It's no spicy restaurant. So it's all now balanced out 50-50. So Matthew, uh, that passion to run an operation as a restaurant, that on top of that you have to deliver the experience. I remember I put a lot of posters of Almodovar because when people jump in, I had to create the experience that people they are in Spain as they open the door. So what have been your challenge? Because the creativity when you have a restaurant, it doesn't stop in the plate. It has to do with the environment, from the way that you design the menu to the environment, the decoration. So how you get so creative, and where do you find magic and love in all this?
So many elements, Harry, have to come into play and they have to work together. Synchronicity is a difficult thing to make happen, but it is going to develop over time. If you're fortunate and you have a little bit of good luck, um, you can maybe make those things happen. But you have to remain focused on what it is that you're doing, and you have to be able to deliver a good experience to your customers, no matter what business you're in, whether it's the restaurant business or
Hmm.
banking or real estate. So you want to leave them feeling like there's a wow factor involved in your engagement with somebody. You
It's
want
all
them
about
to
the
feel like you
experience.
you're a good guy. You can make it happen. It's timely and it's satisfactory, if not better. And the relationships that you're building all along the way are definitely going to help you.
Yeah, I think that for the restaurants, I actually enjoy it. I think that if I had to do it all over again, a lot of people come to me, Harry, let's open a restaurant. I'm telling, hold on a minute, because I've been there. It's very exciting, but those numbers that you're projecting, they're not gonna even get close to make a restaurant work, at least in United Kingdom. Yeah, United States, I presume that is even more, because and it takes time for you to make money back. Do you think that you're gonna make your money back in a year in a restaurant business? I find it very, very almost impossible. But that's my opinion. Of course, people know and they have the contact. But I think, Matthew, if I had to do it all over again, I will start in a different way than I started last time. I will actually build the audience first. Meaning, you see, for example, I have a hobby there in London now. We have a music band and we play salsa, and we were doing parties, and the music band was playing the salsa. And I remember a lot of people were going to see the band to play, right? And if I had to do it again, this is something that I will do. I will build the community first. I will have the people first, and then after I will have the restaurant and already have the client, because they will come, which is I miscalculated that because to be honest, when I opened this restaurant, I used to have a property business close to Brick Lane, and this business managed to sell over 5 million. However, I have only 177 tenants, and I thought that that was enough to feed the restaurant, and it was a huge mistake.
Miscalculation.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
That doesn't even get me closer to fill a restaurant because people need to come more than one time. So the amount of leads. So Matthew, where do you find this community when you open your first restaurant? Where do you find the people? Because nobody knew you. Is your first business. You kind of learning by. So what do you find of this community? Yeah, I get it that you were working a lot with celebrity and famous people, but you were working as a marketing for them. But now, how you bring people to your first restaurant? I would love
Well,
to know how you did that.
I'm not running restaurants currently, but
Yeah,
the
before.
the big part of it, Harry, is that you can always get people in the door the first time, but getting them to return is the key. That's the
Absolutely.
secret in the restaurant business. And that's something that all GMs, chefs, and operators who are running places in the hospitality industry are worried about each and every day. How do we get Harry back to our restaurant the second time? And that's
Any
the key.
tips?
That's like,
Any tips?
well, the tips are, make sure you've trained your staff as absolutely perfectly as possible. You want your staff, the people who are making contact with your customers, you want them to know everything, how the food is cooked, where it is sourced from, all of the various different methods of how it might be. And training of the staff is definitely key, maybe even more key than how delicious the food is. So if you've got a good staffer who knows their stuff,
Absolutely.
then that's a very important aspect. But that's why I'm not running restaurants anymore. That's a young man's game, and I don't want to be working 80 hours a week either. So that's why I went into journalism and opening up other businesses like my tour business and writing a book and things like that. So once you're in the creative endeavors, you want to consistently put forth more effort to make more businesses happen.
So tell us a little bit more about the tours that you're organizing.
Oh yeah, well, in 2004, I was writing restaurant reviews for the Honolulu Advertiser
Wow.
newspaper, which is
Wow.
the biggest newspaper in Hawaii. But I wanted to do something new and different. So I wanted to start up a food tour company. And I had the best job in the world, or so people thought, was writing restaurant reviews for the newspaper in
Oh
Hawaii,
my
getting
God.
paid to eat. You want to get paid to
It's
eat in
it's a,
Hawaii.
it's a,
You're living
it's
in paradise.
oh my God, absolutely. That's a dream job for everyone, even for me. I'll take that job.
So I did that, and then I said, you know what? I want to start a business called Hawaii Food Tours, and I want to feed, educate, and entertain guests who are coming to Hawaii. And so in 2004, that's what I did. I left the restaurant reviewing job, and I opened up Hawaii Food Tours, and I got to feed, educate, and entertain people for 16 years up until COVID.
Wow.
And it was a super successful business. I got to meet people from all over the world who were visiting Hawaii for the first time, and I took them away from the touristy areas and I introduced them to the food, the flavor, the architecture, the culture, the language of Hawaii. So I gave them the real deal, and that's what people really want to
Wow,
have
what
when
an
they travel,
experience.
right?
What an experience, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Do you also have local tourists from United States or they were only international?
People from everywhere, a lot, probably primarily people from North America, but
Hmm.
also people from Europe and Asia quite often. So yeah, as long as they were interested in Hawaii and visiting there, we had a good reach, and so people learned about us and wanted to come on it. Because sometimes when you're traveling, you don't want to see the same stuff that all the touristy stuff offers.
Absolutely.
So you want to really feel what it's really like for the locals, and so that's what
To
we
have an
introduced to
experience
people.
and to
Yeah.
by the way, this is an industry that is now growing a lot, which is the more personalized holidays, what we call it. The people don't want, because let's face it, most of the people have jobs, right? And they only have 4 weeks of holiday or six, so they want to have in this short time frame the best experience ever. Sometimes even money is no uh, an issue. In fact, is the less of the problem. The other day, I was hearing some people that they were working in corporate and they went to Spain on holiday, and they were sharing with me that they went there and they went to this place and other place, and they spend a lot of money. And honestly, in my opinion, I know a lot of places in Spain that you can spend way less and have 100 times way better experience. But what I learned about the talking with them is that when it comes to holiday, um, and it's a tailored experience, people are willing to pay a premium big time for it, and not always you need to pick the most expensive things in order to have a great experience. It depends of the particular needs of these tailor group. So how my tailor group? So Matthew, how you identify the need? Because I guess that a lot of people were going to Hawaii, but some people want to interact more with the locals, and other people like to go to the sea. Obviously, everybody likes to eat. However, some people like quiet places, and other people like places that there is more music. I like those ones, for example, that they're playing music and it's a lot of fun while we're eating. I'm a big fan of these. That's why I have a music band as a hobby, and things like that where we play. So, how you identify the needs of your clients, and do you have a different solution depending on of the type of client that you were working with?
The business had a wonderful reputation, and over time, and you have many, many thousands of reviews, that
Wow.
helps. That helps educate the population as to what is on offer. And so our company became kind of famous, and people wanted to be a part of that. And so when I started it, the business morphed many, many different times over the years. But when people come on it and they enjoy what you're doing, you just continue to try to offer them the best possible local experience. People love authenticity. That's what it's all
Mm-hmm.
about now. Not
Mm-hmm.
make believe and not BS and stuff like that. So you give people the real deal and you educate them and you entertain them while you're feeding them. You've got a winner.
Absolutely. Wow, amazing. And then, but Matthew, we sometimes don't realize how the culture is embedded in the food, and when we had to realize is this is the starting point of a culture, or of the identity of any place in the world. It's started by the food. So, how you manage to connect the flavors of Hawaii with the culture? I presume that I'm originally from Cuba. It's a Caribbean country, and our food sometimes have a lot of color because of the we have fruits and things like that. Mexican food, for example, is very colorful. I remember the first time I went to Mexico, and they invite me to a buffet. I went there to give a conference and in the university, and the dean of the university invited us to a buffet in Mexico. When I saw this buffet, I never see so much color in my life in the food, because Mexican they're very colorful, right? But that is reflected. Probably they are so colorful outside because the food is colorful in the first place. So how you manage to connect the food from the Hawaiian, and tell us some dishes that were popular, with actually the culture of these on the people living there?
Well, the easy answer to that is research, doing good research and learning a lot about
And
the history.
preparation.
Right, right. So a big part of what we did was learning about our culture and our languages and the people who come here and all of that, besides the food, and then the entertainment aspect of being able to connect with your people. So, the easy answer is just research, know your stuff, and then deliver that information to your guests. Everyone was a guest. Nobody was a client. Nobody was a customer. They were all my guests.
Wow, that's amazing. And at the end of the day, Matthew is, and does have something to see with how business is conducted today. That people are thinking that, well, I'm gonna have a great business if I have marketing, if I have this, if I have that. But in my opinion, it's all about the experience. Whether when we do our workshops, for example, all over the world, we are always focusing in what is the experience that the audience is going to have. And we design that workshop, we design the training or the motivational speech or whatever we have been asked to do, based always in what type of experience we want the audience to have. And I think that this is how you get customer loyalty. That's another question. You share with me that the secret in the restaurant is not people to show up the first time, is how to make them come back again. And you're right, 100%, because I remember from my restaurant, to get in and feel what I remember was easy. I remember that I used to have a Spanish omelette, and then I cut it small pieces, and then in lunchtime I put it out there. People were walking past in Brick Lane. A lot of people walk. They were trying the Spanish omelette, and by the time that the omelette finished, at lunchtime, it was full the restaurant. That doesn't make a restaurant successful. It's a big, is a big space that you might cover your costs. But again, the elements, how the clients repeat, and the volume, and so on. So again, about the experience. So how you manage to get repeating clients in your business, which is something I presume really difficult, because people go on holiday, and people like to go to different places. You have to really like the place and like the experience so much in order to come back. So how do you achieve retaining clients in your business, or was almost impossible?
That's a very,
Very seasonal business also,
it's
right?
not the food tour business. Food tour business was all the time because people are coming to Hawaii all the time
All
throughout
the
the year.
time.
It's a big destination place for people.
Hmm.
But the the thing that you brought up, which is very interesting to me, is that in the restaurant business, you need to do things that are a little bit different to make sure that people return. So you need repeat business to be successful in the restaurant business. In my food tour business, I would say 95%, if not more, of my guests were first time customers, one time
Absolutely.
customers, because people wouldn't be coming back to Hawaii all the
Absolutely.
time. So
Yeah,
almost everybody, so it was a different kind of a
very difficult to
layout.
succeed in the business. Very difficult.
Right.
I mean, you can get
So
a
that,
recommendation for a friend, right? Then
yeah,
and you
yeah.
can tell your friends, okay, come and see Matthew. It's amazing. But again, it's a first and only time
Right.
that you will
That's
see.
why the
Unlikely you
reviews,
have repeating
yeah,
clients, right?
that,
Unlikely.
that's why the reviews are so important to a business like that. The tourism reviews and all the various different websites that talk about where did you go, Harry, on your vacation? What did you do? And like you tell somebody and you write about it, and that's how they learn about it. So, business like mine, I was getting first time, one time people all the time
And
for our
one
business
chance
every
only.
single day.
So
Right.
Matthew, what
And
message do
so,
you have? Yeah, sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I was
Yeah.
just going to say it's different. Every business is different. Some people are going to like you'll turn a house, you'll sell a house to somebody one
Mhm.
time, but that's it. He's not going to come back
Exactly.
and buy again.
Exactly.
And so, and in restaurants, you need to have that person. Yeah, I want Harry, and every week or
Mm.
every month, come on in. So every business has a different kind of a strategy as to what they need for
Even
their
for the
customer
houses,
base.
it's easy. Even for the house, it's easy because you might have a property investor that they will buy several. But in
Right,
that one
right.
that you have, so Matthew, what's the secret then? How you got? Because if you can do it, everybody can do it. Yeah, we empower all the entrepreneurs here. But what you have done is something almost impossible. How you achieve thousands of positive reviews from one-time experience? What message do you have for people out there, from restaurant owner or for people that are doing guided tours? Because without these reviews, is a big part of it, especially because it's only a one-off. And
Right.
so, what is the secret to get thousands of positive reviews of a one-off services, which is very, very challenging?
You have to
Especially
just,
with food, it's very subjective. People like it, people
right.
don't like it. It's very, especially in a country you're on holiday, so it's very subjective. The whole thing. So how you achieve thousands of reviews anyway?
Well, here's the thing, Harry. In a tourism business, which is different than a restaurant business, you have to ask your guests for a little bit of help. And
Listen to your
ye
clients, right?
years and years down the line, people won't remember what they ate when they came out with me, but they'll remember they had a good time with me. And that
Absolutely.
is the key. You
The
want them to
experience.
leave and remember that experience that you were talking about. They won't know or remember the food, but they'll remember Matthew and they'll remember my team.
Yeah. So Matthew, tell us about the books that you're writing. I think that they are amazing. What are they? I presume that about food and visiting places. So tell us a little bit more about your book and what's your favorite chapter?
Ah, my book is called The Ultimate Eater's Guide, Hawaii Edition. So it's for
Wow.
anybody who's going to be visiting Hawaii or for anybody who has a friend or a family member who's visiting here. So that's what that is. And if you're interested in that, you can go to my website, hawaiifoodtours.com, or you can listen to my podcast, 50 Tastes of Gray, and that's on YouTube. And, the book is wonderful for anybody who loves to eat. And I'm not going to give you recommendations that the tour guides in other places might do. So it's all, verified by a real chef who's been doing food tours for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what a treat. And tell us a little bit more about the podcast as well.
Uh, the
Who's
podcast is really
who?
where I'm really focusing my time on that now. The podcast is my social life, Harry,
It's a lot of fun.
because
Oh my God.
yeah, I don't have to work another job, so I'm happy doing my podcast. I get to speak to fascinating people from all over the world,
I agree
and
with
it
you.
really occupies my time to get to do this and then go into the editing suite and the studio and try to make it look nice. So there are all these different elements, but it's a creative endeavor and it's something that's
Again, for
very
you,
interesting
yeah.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So it just as long as I could be creative,
yeah, you are a creator, Matthew. You see, you saying like
Yeah.
me, I'm a creator. So the problem with us is that we don't stop to create. We're always creating. Yeah. Even
Right.
what
Right.
who else was a creator? Walt Disney. You see, he was
Oh,
creating and creating and creating and was almost close to bankrupt, and then he created Mickey Mouse, and the rest is history because the
yeah. I
creator
think he
never
did pretty
stopped
well.
creating.
Right.
The creator, it doesn't it doesn't matter. It doesn't have money or anything. It will never stop it
Oh, yeah.
creating because it's within the personality. My
Some people
girlfriend,
aren't
she's also
interested in,
creative. My girlfriend is also creative, so you can imagine my house is always full of ideas all the time. Even for our team members that work for our company, we always tell them we need doers, creators, an idea. Don't worry about it. You know,
oh, yeah.
we we have thousands of the time. But again, the podcast is an amazing way of meeting amazing people and connecting with people and spend and talk about what you're passionate about. This one, for example, is passionate about business and the entrepreneurs and the journey of the entrepreneurs. And what I like about you, Matthew, is that as a creator, you manage to build businesses that is very difficult, almost impossible, to have a creator with the same business for so many years. This I can tell you because I'm also a creator, and we get bored. So maybe you start with a restaurant, but after you get bored of the restaurant, then you start with the tours, and then eventually, because we are like that, we that's why I own several
You know that term
businesses.
that,
Yeah,
serial entrepreneur, Harry, that
yeah,
people
that's for
talk
us.
about?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, okay, I have another idea because I ran out of ideas before. Have to do something new now. So I want to be creative in
Uh,
figuring out what I'm going to do next.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun though. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
It can
Yeah.
be, but
Financially rewarding, well, depends. Some business do very well. Another one, in my opinion,
right,
have
right.
been a big disaster. I still have a lot of fun. I can tell you, I never regret to have my restaurant, regardless that I took a big hit. The restaurant showed me the biggest lesson in my life, actually, because when I didn't make this work that day, I lost everything. I lost not everything, but I lost my girlfriend back on the day. I lost 200,000 pounds. I do have to. I closed the restaurant, which I put a lot of work into this, and
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
that I thought that I was unstoppable and I can make work anything. Well, this restaurant gave me a big lesson that I thought that I was a big deal in business, and this restaurant showed me that I was a nobody, and that I was just a baby, and I didn't have any clue
Oh,
what I
yeah.
was doing. So this
We
restaurant
learn our
slapped me in my
lessons.
face and bring my ego, which is back to the ground, and is the greatest lesson that I have, because I think the person that I become and how I see business and how I see people is completely different than I was doing back then. I think I got lucky that my first business out of luck, it was doing amazing, but it goes to my different business work and made them profitable in different industry and different sectors like I had. Is completely different challenge, but we cannot stop it. We had to do it, Matthew, because we are creators, and again, the creator never stop to create. This is who we are. It's a lot of fun, though. Yeah, we never get bored. We always doing something new. Even this podcast is the latest
Well, we
thing that we
characterize
done.
ourselves as creative types, but a lot of work goes into being creative.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. It comes a lot of work to it because you have to start all over again. But I don't know. This is who we are, and we happy being this way.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Matthew, thank you so much for your time with us. These have been amazing. Yeah, I'm really glad to meet you. I think that you are amazing. And it's very difficult again to find successful creators out there when they are in business, because it's difficult to go venture against venture, and a new venture, and when you are in business, it's a lot of risks involved and finance. But I'm glad that you have an amazing career. So if somebody want to learn more about your book and about what you're doing, how people can find you, how this process work?
Well, they can go to my website. One of my websites is hawaiifoodtours.com. Another one is lovelife.com.
Oh, I love that.
And
That one is good. I
that's a
love
good
that
one.
one.
And so, yeah, people can contact me through the website, so they can email me from there. There are contacts. They can listen to the show, 50 Tastes of Grey, on YouTube.
I like the
And
title.
so, yeah, thank you. So I'm very accessible, very easy to reach. If people are interested in becoming more healthy through diet, that's something I'm really
Mm.
interested in now, is
Great
helping people
topic.
with their
Great topic.
metabolic health and fighting
Yeah.
diabetes and
Mm-hmm.
fighting
Mm-hmm.
obesity and things like that, because that's
Mm-hmm.
something now, after living a life
Mm.
of excess for so many years, now I help people with their health
And you
whenever
can
I
have
can.
food that's amazing. Who's gonna
Right.
thought about this? And if you really be creative, something that's helping me a lot is a celery juice. You see, it's removing the fat from my liver, and since I'm having this celery juice, I'm feeling better. And who's gonna thought that the food would actually heal my internal body, and I'm getting a lot of juices as well from fruit and vegetable, and having a lot of fun with these, and they are amazing for your body in my
Food is the
experience.
best
Yeah,
medicine.
yeah. If you know what you're doing, if
Right.
you know what you're doing. So I invite everyone to our listeners, entrepreneur, to listen Matthew podcast, because remember, this broadcast is not only about being wealthy, it's also about being healthy and happy. And I think that Matthew tick our three boxes, because definitely is healthy because he's eating healthy food, and inspiring other people to do it, and he's happy because he's a food lover. So I invite everyone to follow you to your podcast, and see you for everyone listening and following our social media. Thank you once again, Matthew, for the
Thank you,
broadcast.
Harry. It was really
Pleasure.
nice meeting you.
Pleased to meet you. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of On Stop, or how brave entrepreneurs like mine to you break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.